Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. And we are pleased to be joined once again by the final funny car winner at the Southern Nationals, Bob Tasca III, of course, driver of the Motorcraft, a Ford Mustang funny car. How's it going, man?
Very good. Hey, listen, we're on a roll. We were able to pull off that last win there in Atlanta. A little bit of luck, a little bit of skill, and a whole lot of hard work, and we're able to come out of there with the trophy. So obviously, great start for our team. But we got a lot of work ahead of us. It's a really long season. The points we set after Indy. So, this thing is just starting to ramp up. But it's great to be racing in front of sold out crowds and have the fan energy in the pits, and it just feels like life's getting back to normal.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there because I just, as I told you earlier, I just got off a call with Antron, and he literally said the same thing. Atlanta Dragway was packed. I know it was the last event, and so you had that. But what was it like to just go out there and race in front of a packed house at the final Southern Nationals in Atlanta?
Hey, a lot of great memories there. It's a shame to see it, be the last race, but definitely wanted to win the last one. And there's other tracks that NHRA is talking to that I'm sure they'll make an announcement next year. But that's life, right? Everything's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. And unfortunately for that racetrack, it was the end. And thrilled to get out of there with the trophy. I think it was a little bittersweet, but that's what it is. That's how things evolve. And looking forward, not back. There's a bunch of great races ahead of us that we're coming into. The 4 wide in Charlotte, which is next weekend, and then we go right to Houston. So this season for NHRA is really going to start to crank up now.
So I know that your team has been on a roll, and the people that you've put together in the last few years since you returned to full-time competition back in 2018, has the progress that your team has made, it's just been incredible. What's it been like to put together a crew like this to go after wins and be on the hot start that you guys are on now?
It's taken a lot of time. I had a good friend of mine, a young driver, come up to me in the winner's circle and said, "Tasca, you're making it look easy." And I laughed. I said, "Well, you were still in diapers when I was getting beat up out here every single weekend." This doesn't take, weeks or races. It takes years to be able to surround yourself with the right talent. The talent pool out here is so thin. The guys that really know how to tune these cars there's only a handful that win consistently. Anyone can win once, but to win consistently, there's only a handful of guys that do it. Obviously very fortunate to have Mike Neff and John Schaefer, tuning our Motorcraft car, because they're certainly as a tandem, they're as good as anybody that's done it. And then they have to surround themselves with the right talent, and again, every guy in our team, from the guy that does the tires all the way up to Mike and John, very skilled, very seasoned group of men on this race car. And you see it in the consistency. And I don't know if there's been a time, and it's been building over the last couple of years, where you've seen funny car racing as tight as it is right now. Yeah. I mean, you win first round in Gainesville against Hagan by 1,000. I've won a couple more races by a couple thousandths, and then the finals against Force by 3,000. Yeah. These are cars going 330 miles an hour, right? So it takes every detail. There is no detail that is too small, that's unimportant when you're racing these nitro funny cars now. And it's we've just been very fortunate. You look at that race in Atlanta, and we had some luck when we needed it. We had some skill when we had to have it, and most importantly, we just gave ourselves a chance. And that's what I think that we've really done, in this short 3 races so far this year. We've put ourselves in a position to win. Obviously, we're not going to win all of them. I can tell you this, though, this team goes into every single race expecting to win. We have all the parts and pieces and talent to win. but you're not going to win all of them. But you really want to put yourself in a position where you have that chance to win all of them, and that's what I think we've done very well. And I give all the credit to the guys on that car. I mean, they just put me in a position as a driver that I got a shot to win it, right? And that's all you can ask for. And Mike and John, they make big horsepower. The car runs big speed all year. We've run big speed, so we know we have the power to go up there and run with the best of them. And we've certainly showed that we're capable of doing that.
Yeah, of course. I know that, last time we talked, we kind of went into, I know that, the development of, cars and, funny cars and, electrification funny cars, something we kind of talked about last time you were on, and something that Ford's been working on. What's that been like to be a part of that project, and what can people expect about that? Because it's like when people talk about it, it's like, hmm, that's interesting.
Oh, it's exciting. NHRA announced the Summit Electric Series, and
Yeah.
there's more details to come as far as what the rules are with that series. And I think they're even looking at a more advanced series where you can really showcase the full onslaught of what electrification can bring to drag racing. Just to be able to be involved with it, this is the beginning, right? How many times you get to be involved with something at the very beginning of its development? And the electric Cobra Jet, I think, has shown everybody in a regular Mustang body and chassis. There's nothing fancy with it. It goes out there and runs low 8 seconds, at over 160 miles an hour. So it's incredible what it can do. I think what's also great about our sport of drag racing is that, whether you talk about NASCAR, IndyCar, or Formula One, do they switch completely to electric and it ends traditional? What is the step in that process? Where in drag racing, I see electrification being another class. You got nitro funny car, you got pro stock, you got pro stock bike, and you're going to have an electric class. And that class is going to evolve, and it's going to certainly turn some heads as the technology continues to evolve. Now, when you're going to see an electric funny car outrun a nitro funny car, I'll probably be retired, Casey, by the time that happens, but I'm not going to rule it out, because again, it really doesn't come down to whether or not they can build the power. These electric engines can match what we do in this nitro car. It's the weight ratio, right? So how many batteries and what's the weight trade-off to power, do you have to find that balance? So that's a long ways down the road, but seeing 7-second electric cars running up and down the racetrack, I mean, that's right around the corner for us to be able to see that.
Yeah. I know, and speaking of, involvement and, new things, of course, Ford was part of a big announcement yesterday with, of course, the NASCAR next gen cars, seeming like, looking at those kinds of cars, looking at streets, those things, they look really like an actual car. Like, the Ford Mustang looks like the actual Mustang that people actually drive. What's it like to, to see that kind of out there? And, especially that Ford Mustang looked pretty good yesterday.
Oh, man, it looked awesome. I actually tweeted, I said, do I get to drive it? With a question mark. It's awesome. It's a great step in the right direction. It really brings the brand into the sport. But no, I thought it looked fabulous. And, I know I took Joey Logano to town on the drag strip. I told him I would return the favor to him, and I'd try my luck going around in circles. I'm sure he'd take me to town pretty good out there. But no, I'd love to drive it. It looks awesome. I think the fans are going to love it. At a glance, it looks like a Mustang. And, that's, again, I'm not going to say that they call our cars funny for a reason, right? They kind of look like funny cars, but, that was a big part of what we wanted to design into our Mustang. And when you look at it from the nose, it's, it's at a glance, you can tell it's a Mustang. Clearly that NASCAR took it to the next level, but I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. I know that, of course, with with your kids doing all the activities, I know one of your kids plays hockey, I think. What's
Yeah,
that?
a couple. All four of them played. I got three of them still playing, but they're hockey nuts, my kids.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they are. Of course, It was fun, talking, going to a lot of these things, and of course they're in junior dragsters, drag racing as well. Do you think any of them could want to be interested in that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess down the road, I mean, for me, it's about priorities for them. It's school and getting a good education and playing sports. It's harder to really take advantage of junior drag racing in Rhode Island because the closest track is New Hampshire, and that's a pretty short season between summer and winter.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean they love racing. I mean they love it probably more than I would want them to love it at this point in time. They're negotiating with me constantly about skipping school to go to a race. So, it's in our blood. It's certainly, my grandfather started racing back in the 60s, and I don't see Tasca getting out of NHRA drag racing anytime soon. I got 4 boys behind me, and, I'm sure if I turn the keys over, at least 3 of them would be bumping me out of the car right now. So I'm having too much fun driving. So they're either gonna have to find their own sponsorship or wait until I don't want to drive anymore. Although, heck, John Force at 72 years old, he made it look easy this past weekend, and it was pretty awesome to race him in the finals. There's nobody that I get up more for than John Force. I mean, he's done more in this sport than anyone ever will in certainly our lifetimes. But at his age, and for him to be able to compete out there, that was not an easy final round,
No.
and we won it by an eyelash. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Of course, the fun continues next week. You guys are going to the, four wide racing down in Charlotte. What's that going to be like, for you? Because four wide racing has always been fun since it was introduced a few years ago. And I know you won the four wide at Vegas. It's going to make
Yeah,
it.
I've always wanted to win one. Now I got to say, I always want to win 2 of them. It's definitely one of the hardest races to win all year.
Yeah.
You have to beat 2 guys in the first 2 rounds to get to the finals, when normally you only have to beat 1 person, right? And then in the finals, you got to beat 3 of arguably the best cars of the weekend, right? So it's a very challenging race to win. Certainly we were very fortunate in Vegas, came out of there with the win. We have full expectation to roll into Charlotte and do everything we can to win that one. It's a great racetrack, great race surface. Normally the weather this time of year isn't that hot, so you can see some really record-setting times. But when you have a car running as good as our Motorcraft Mustang's running, you can't wait to get back in it, right? So I can't wait to get to Charlotte and see what this team can do there.
All right. Bob Tasca III, thank you so much for coming on again. Good luck in a few weeks at Charlotte.
Thank you very much.